Hopefully you guys can hear me. Let's see. All right. Hi. Hopefully people jump over from watching it on the other one. Not entirely sure what happened. It wouldn't let me hit go live. It was just a gray black button. I'm sure there's a bunch of people waiting over there. But we are ready to get going. Are we not? Okay. Technology is fun when it works and fun when it doesn't, I guess. Cool. So hopefully maybe people can just watch later if they were really looking forward to some 2 o'clock yoga instead of 2:19:45 yoga. All right, we are going to start in child's pose. So I'm going to walk everyone through kind of the basic steps of every single pose that we do today. But we're going to start in child's pose. So you're going to take your feet together, knees out wide, and then reach your hands as far forward as you possibly can. And then just kind of relax and sink into the pose. Don't worry so much if your hips don't meet your heels. Obviously, the goal is to try to get a little bit more flexible, but once you're here, really just start to even close your eyes. Take some deep breaths. Breathe in through your nose. And then notice any areas of tension or tightness throughout your body. Make any small adjustments that you might need. Maybe your knees need to come closer together. Maybe take them a little out. One, palms facing up. Nod your head. Shake it back and forth on your mat. Noticing those areas of tension. On your next breath in, come up to tabletop. So stack your shoulders directly over your wrists, hips over your knees, and then your feet can either stay tucked or untucked, whatever feels better on your body. Keep your gaze right down in between your hands. No need to look up or down. And then on your next breath in, find cat pose. Arch your back, look up towards the ceiling. Exhale, cow pose. Press in. Exhale, cat pose. Inhale to cow. Exhale to cat. Go through that 5 more times on your own. And feel free to throw in any other movement that might feel good here. Maybe a slight bend side to side, a shift back and forth. Really the goal is to try to get some movement into your spine. We spend so much time sitting, and then especially when we're competing or training, we stiffen up these back muscles, these core muscles. The goal is to bring a little bit of range of motion. On your next exhale, find tabletop. Walk your hands out a little bit in front of you. Inhale to high plank. Stack your shoulders over your wrists, and then exhale backwards to downward facing dog. So shoulders over your wrists, high plank to downward facing dog. That should be about the ideal placement for your hands and feet. You can start to pedal out your heels here. Take any movement that feels right to you. But know that you can take as generous a bend in your knees as you need. The goal here is to try to have as much length created in your spine as possible. So imagine sending your hips up towards the ceiling and back, and then the crown of your head, the top of your head, forward down towards your mat. You want to squeeze your hands in towards one another without them actually moving anywhere on your mat. From there, you can even let your head go. Shake it yes, shake it no. And continue to breathe. Remember, a lot of the yoga classes I've taken, at first it seems ridiculous to be told how to breathe, but then we forget. We get into a challenging pose and we forget to breathe. We hold that tension and we hold our breath at the same time. On your inhale, look between your hands. Exhale, ragdoll pose forward. You can go as slow as you want. Then take them out as wide as you need. Let your head hang heavy. You can take your hand to your opposite elbow. And you can either clasp your hands together behind your back or just let them hang heavy towards the mat. And then as you're allowing your spine to kind of decompress here physically, allow yourself to decompress mentally. Let go of anything that's been weighing on you recently, all the craziness in the world, the fact that technology, just feel all of those things roll right off your back. Exhale. Inhale, step your heel toe your feet in together, hip width or distance, or hip width distance apart. Inhale, halfway lift. Press your hands into something. They can be pressed into the ground, pressed into your shins, even pressed into your thighs. You can have a small bend in your knees. And then as you press firmly into your legs, lengthen out through the top of your head. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back, almost like you're trying to pinch something in between them. Breath in. Ground out through all four corners of your feet. Squeeze your quads. Reach your hands high, but plug your shoulders back down into their sockets. Breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. Then exhale, downward facing dog. Now that you're down dog now might look a little different than it did at the start. On your breath in, lift your right leg up and back. Allow your left heel to melt a little bit more toward the ground. We won't stay here for very long. Keep your hips level with one another. Lunge. Bring your foot in between your hands. It's okay if it doesn't reach it there all the way at first. You can come up to spider tip fingers. And then press strongly out through your back heel. Keep your gaze right down in front of you. Exhale. Inhale, crescent moon. Drop your left knee down towards your mat. Stack your shoulders on top of your, and reach at least your left hand, if not both hands, up towards the ceiling. You can even find a soft bend over towards your right side. Now, as you're here, I want you to think about firing and engaging your left glute. There's a term called reciprocal inhibition, where if you fire the opposite muscle, so here our opposite muscle of our glute is our hip flexor, our psoas muscle. Psoas muscles, those are two different things. But if you fire your glute, those two things release. And those are things that, are you breathing? Good. Those are two things that get really, really tight as runners, as cyclists, as triathletes, just as people sitting in chairs. Great. Inhale, bring your hands back to heart center. Exhale, revolved crescent moon. Stack your elbow on your thigh and then press your hands firmly into one another to pull your right shoulder back over your left shoulder. Continue to breathe here, and with each inhale, think of lengthening the top of your head forward. Each exhale, think of pulling your right shoulder a little bit back towards the left side of your body. Good deep breath in. Exhale, runner's lunge. Pause here and breathe. Bring your right foot out to the side of your mat, and then bring your both hands to the inside of your right leg. Everyone can get to a little bit different place in this pose. You can keep your hands up if you have some pillows or something else handy, or if you're really flexible, you can bring your elbows down towards your mat. Doesn't really matter. Just go to the place of sensation in your body. You can even slice out onto the outside of your right foot, play around with the angle of your right leg. We all feel this in a slightly different way, especially men to women. Take a breath out. On your inhale, reach back around for your left foot with your right hand. Exhale, runner's lunge with a quad stretch. Now, you might need to wrap a towel or a shirt or whatever you have handy around your left foot, or even prop yourself up even more with your left hand to reach your foot. Or if you're really flexible, you don't really need that. I'm not really flexible. Now, know that you're slightly spring-loaded here, so take a deep breath in, and then exhale, slowly release your back foot. Come back to high plank on your inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. We're going to pause here for a few rounds of breath. Just kind of reset physically, reset mentally. Left leg up and back. Keep breathing. Melt your right heel down towards your mat. Exhale. Inhale, low lunge. Bring your left foot forward in between your hands. Even if you have to shimmy it on forward, that's totally fine. Keep your core engaged here. Think of reaching out through the top of your head, pointing it as far forward as you can. You can even play around if you want this to be a little bit more of a core workout, pulling your hands up off your mat. But those of you who did our core strength workout earlier in the day probably don't need to do anything else. All right. Breath out. Inhale, crescent moon. Drop your right knee down this time. Reach your right hand up and fire your right glute. If you need more sensation, you can reach almost like a bowl of soup, trying to keep them tucked underneath you. That way they're not spilling out forward. What kind of soup would you? That's a weird question. Exhale. Inhale, bring your hands to heart center. Exhale, revolved crescent moon, and breathe. This time, stack your right elbow over your left knee. Press your hands firmly into one another. You can even stack your left elbow over your right elbow. And with each inhale, think length in your spine. Each exhale, see if you can softly deepen your twist. The goal of twisting for athletes is to kind of take that same idea that we had earlier with bringing a little bit mobility throughout your spine and exaggerating it a little bit more. Breath in. Exhale, runner's lunge. Breathe here. Bring your left foot now to the outside corner of your mat or the outside of your hands. Notice how these two sides might be slightly different. I have a little bit more range of motion on my left side. Allow your head to hang heavy here. Maybe even close your eyes. Kind of let go of what it looks like. And tune into what it feels like instead. On your inhale, start to prop yourself up. Curl your right leg in. Exhale, runner's lunge with a quad stretch. Reach your left hand back behind you to grab the inside of your right foot. Again, there's a lot of tension right now in your back. Downward facing dog. And your breath in with your right leg up and back. Exhale, pigeon pose, and breathe. Bring your right knee to your right wrist. Keep your hips in line with one another. And let the sensation in your knee dictate the angle of your shin. Some people can have their shin straight parallel to the top of their mat. Some people have to have it tucked way back in by their left hip. Once you feel set here, feel free to of all the externals and really focus on the sensation. We spend so much time as athletes trying to ignore pain, ignore the things that hurt in order to keep training, to keep pushing forward. But there's a time and a place to come back to those sensations, to notice them. Three-legged dog, right leg. Bring some much needed blood flow back to your leg. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, half pigeon. Left side. Might be slightly different. Pull your right hip forward as you press your left hip back. And relax into the pose as you see fit. Exhale. Inhale, slowly press up to your palms. Tuck your right toes underneath you. Inhale, three-legged dog. On your exhale, downward facing dog. Take 3 deep breaths here. On your last exhale, lower down to your knees. We're going to do something which is exactly what it sounds like. So I'm going to turn a little bit more sideways so you can see what that looks like. You're going to be on your left knee, take your right shin, and then place it somewhere along your calf. You can kind of play around at first to see biggest, maybe not, tension, tightness, whatever you want to call it, but find a good, nice, meaty spot on there. And then as you do, use the weight of your body to smash it. It's not very yoga zen sounding, but you know what? It works and it feels pretty good, doesn't it? It hurts so good. As you're ready, switch legs, left shin onto your right calf. And now for the fun, flip around onto your back. With all the technological difficulties, I forgot to tell you to get a strap. We'll worry about that another time. All right, I want you to hug both knees into your chest. Give yourself a big old squeeze. Exhale, let your knees drop over to your left side. Your right shoulder to remain on the ground. And take your gaze wherever feels comfortable. It can go over towards your right hand. It can stay up towards the ceiling. You can close your eyes. Wherever you go, continue to breathe. Exhale. Back up to center and give yourself one more squeeze. Exhale, drop your knees over to the other side. This time, press your left shoulder down towards your mat, towards the ground. Gaze where comfortable. And breathe. Inhale, bring your knees back up through center. One more big squeeze in. And then exhale to Shavasana. Take your legs as long as you need, arms touch space as possible, or even bring one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart. Take a few moments to notice the rhythm of your heartbeat, rise and fall of your breath. And simply for the ability to move or challenging or training or this yoga might seem. Just the fact that you're able to do it. On your next breath in, long body stretch, reach for the top, and reach through your legs. Exhale, slowly roll over into a fetal position. Use your left hand to ground down into your mat, into the ground. Take one last moment of gratitude. Before pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat. You can keep your eyes closed. Maintain a soft gaze. And inhale, reach your hands up overhead. Exhale, draw them through the heart center. The athlete, runner, triathlete, cyclist, yogi, human being in me sees and honors all those wonderful things in you. We bow forward and say namaste. Feels weird that I can't hear if they said namaste. Anyways, that was a very frazzled yoga class due to technology. It will get better. I've also never taught while doing the poses, which was weird because I just at times forgot what I was doing because I wanted to just do the poses. I forgot I was supposed to talk. Anyways, yeah, there will be more yoga, more strength, more core coming at you. So hit subscribe. That's probably the best way because I'm sure we'll have technical difficulties again. And to be honest, it was not, yeah, I'm sure we'll have technical difficulties. But I think if you hit subscribe and then I go live, it will let you know that I'm going live. Is that? I think so too. Enjoy the rest of your quarantined Monday and have a Merry Christmas, but that's totally wrong. Yeah, that. Bye. All right. End.